What is going on, you guys? So today I want to make a super quick video for you talking about why you should always be in attack mode. What do I mean by attack mode? Basically, it means consistently staying in the fire and going after your goals. So basically always growing, right? Turning up the dial, getting out of your comfort zone a little bit, and making sure that you are, let's say, relentless in your pursuit of where you want to be, right? Like, so let's say hypothetically, you wrote down and you knew your vision. So if you don't, I would recommend doing that after this video, is like writing down on a piece of paper exactly what you want your life to look like in the future. And if you're not fully sure, just get as close as possible and you can reiterate on that. Like, it'll evolve over time when you know more, right? You know, do you want to have a family? Where do you want to live? Is that in a city or a beach? Is that, do you need a car? Are you like very confident? What sort of role are you playing, right? Like, in what way are you providing value to others? Have you started some sort of business? Are you following some sort of career or passion? Like, how are you providing value to others in a way that's really authentic to you? So like, it gives fulfillment on both ends. It's an equal exchange, right? Like, you're helping others and being fulfilled by that. And I know a lot of people will have some thoughts in debate to that, right? Like, oh, like, don't follow your passion, for example. And you can do that if you want. I'm not going to argue with you, right? I mean, like, a great example, right? Like, if you really want to be a doctor, be a doctor. I think there's a lot of people who do that sort of thing because someone else told them it was a good idea, or their parents were like, we want you to do this, we need you to do this, or someone put the idea in their head rather than them thinking more critically, right? Because a lot of us have had the creative side of our brain sort of suppressed from growing up. So if you tap into that and think about what you really want, you might start to wake up to a few things like, oh, well, was that advice good for me? Or has the stuff I've been eating been good for me? Like, all these different things, right? And you start to realize that maybe there was something deep down. You probably know what it is too. Like, one or a few things deep down that you've always really wanted to try or do in terms of like following a career path or passion to help others. And I would say, as soon as you can, maybe start following that instinct, right? I mean, if you can support yourself and start carving out that path, like going in that direction as well. So maybe eventually you can hop off the first one and go to that one that you really care about, right? So that's one example, and that's a great thing to think about there, right? Like, so let's say you have the day job, the 9 to 5. Attack mode would mean that you would also have to, before work, on your lunch break, or after work, carve out time, because it's really something you want to make time for, not being comfortable, and getting to the life you really want. So that would be an attack mode, right? Like, you always make time for it, no matter what. Because otherwise you'll basically stay stagnant, or it'll take you a lot longer to get there. And I mean, the attack mode could go in a lot of other different ways, right? Basically being like a savage with improving yourself, learning more, reading as much as possible, so developing your brain, your character, going out on adventures, right? Like, and by that I just mean like maybe exploring a different part of your town, or maybe traveling a little bit, or not self-isolating so much, finding a balance between isolating to grow and then also being social, because we're also social creatures, and a lot of people forget that, so they keep themselves alone. Like, oh, I can't hang out with people until I've focused on myself enough, and I've leveled up this much, and now I'm this person. Now I can go outside. Like, that's such a nuts thought, and I used to think that, right? So I'm leveling with you right now. Like, I recommend not doing that because we're social creatures and you're gonna make a lot less progress. There's a balance, right? Like, you can't be going out and hanging out too much, and especially like if it's like partying and that kind of stuff. But socializing is good for us. So again, like, let's say like everything in moderation in that sense, right? Just like you can't go to the gym all day, right? Which is another example. I mean, like, you got to have a little bit of time to rest. You can't actually go to the gym every day without overtraining. Push pull legs. But you can't spend the whole day in the gym, or even too long, like hours, right? So what I would recommend for you is looking at all the different areas where you can, you want to improve, right? Like, attack mode might mean maybe you're already consistent in the gym, but maybe you're not tracking your nutrients. So like, it's harder for you to lose or gain the weight that you want, like build the muscle or lose the fat that you want, right? So the next level to how you're really going to get there would be tracking, right? And it's easy, actually. You could write it down, or, I mean, there's a lot of apps that'll do it for you. Like, they'll even scan barcodes on foods. It becomes easy once you get into the habit of it. So working on the habit first is crucial. Or, let's say, again, right, like the business one that I mentioned earlier, following your true instinct, that passion, like what you've noticed that you're good at helping people with, that thing deep down that you kind of know, or a few things that are there, making time for that. And also, even like, so there's the socializing part, the normal part, and then there's the dating, right? Like, let's say you've got some limiting beliefs around dating. Well, you're probably going to break a lot of those just by going out and doing it more, right? I'm not going to say to be a serial dater, right? I'm just saying, like, I think a lot of people don't really date. I think there's like one or the other. Like, they date too much, or they don't really date, and they isolate, right? So what I would recommend is, you can use the dating apps, but I would probably recommend getting out of your comfort zone and going to places where you can meet people and just being a bit more brave. Like saying hello, starting conversations, and maybe if it's going well with someone who seems interesting to you, just suggesting a coffee or something sometime, whether that's in a friendly way or a date way, right? Because it could lead in that direction if you're intentional. And you got to be intentional there, of course, right? Like, because effectively you put yourself in the friend zone if you don't make the distinction. That's just the truth. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I was put in the friend zone. No. If you're accountable, you put yourself there. That's just the truth, right? Because they didn't know, and you didn't let them know. So, and you stuck around when you wanted to be more than friends with them. If you want to be actual friends with them, perfect. And if you wanted to be more and then they said no, then you have to have a bit of self-respect and figure out what to do from there, so you're not hanging around, like, clinging on to them all the time, right? Like there's all these different ways, and what I'm suggesting to you is become such a massive problem solver in your personal life that nothing scares you. It's easy for you to get out of your comfort zone every single day. So you're gonna see there's that version of you, and there's the person, like the version that doesn't do that, and you're gonna see so much more massive growth over time than you would if you continue doing it the other way, where you're not focusing on those things. So the moral of the story here is become a savage with your life, with your improvement. Get into attack mode, sit in the fire, right? Get out of your comfort zone. Fear doesn't exist. Sit in it, feel it, and you're gonna love your life very soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. You got this, bro.